today I just wanted to explain to you what's going to happen now that the ventilator is gone. I also just want to warn you, there is a fan right now because for some reason it wasn't that warm, and then I started making this video and my face just felt like a tomato and it was really, really hot. So now I'm going to film with the fan on, so my hair is probably like blowing. And anyways, I just wanted to explain to you what is going to happen now that Hannah isn't sleeping with the ventilator anymore, or doesn't have the ventilator at all anymore, because some of you were probably just as worried as me. I did get a few comments like thinking like the same things as me, except for I had doctors answering it, and whereas I kind of left you guys hanging. But I also feel like it's really confusing to explain some things to you guys, because it's not like I've been sharing my life from the beginning, so it's not like you guys like know our history or anything. It's like I started in the middle and now it's confusing. So while we were there, they checked for two things. They were watching her oxygen stats, and they were also watching her CO2 levels. And the reason that they're watching the CO2 levels is because it's not the same as oxygen. It means like she's working too hard to breathe, or like she can't breathe out, like there's just not enough lung power, whereas the oxygen would mean like she just needs maybe a little bit more help with like an oxygen or whatever. The respiratory rate also is a big giveaway for if they are doing well. If they're breathing really, really, really fast, it means they're not doing that well. If you're breathing like slow, obviously if you're not breathing really, really slow, that's not good either, but you are supposed to breathe, well, for preemies it was under 60, so I don't know what it is now that she's 3, but you don't want to be breathing 60-80 breaths a minute when they're sleeping. That's a sign that you're breathing too fast and you're having problems. So those are like the things that they were watching for, and everything came back great. I know the CO2 levels really well, like the danger zones, because we did watch that a lot before Hannah got her trach, so I'm very comfortable with this test. The only thing I'm not comfortable with, I watched Hannah breathe on low flow oxygen for 6 months before she got her trach, like before she hurt her lungs so bad that she got her trach. So like, just because she's breathing good right now doesn't mean that she's going to forever breathe good. And I think some of you are also understood that, and that's why you guys asked me that question. So I'm also worried about that, but we gotta hope that her lungs grow. But so at home right now, because the ventilator is discontinued and we're not supposed to put it on, obviously in an emergency, because we still have it in the home, I would put it on her. But what we're supposed to do right now, like if she just got a little cold or anything, we're supposed to put on oxygen. And then, so the way that we do that now that she's off the ventilator is with this. And this piece just connects to the oxygen tubing, and then this piece would just sit around the trach, and then this is the same kind of way that she would get humidity once we get a humidifier. So then it would just sit here, and then it would just waft into her trach. We're supposed to go back to Victoria if she's been on this for like consistently, like if she's needing it for like more than like a week, I'm sure, or something. Especially if she's not sick. If she's not sick and she's just needing oxygen, then that's an indicator something's wrong. And also an indicator that something is wrong is that if she's really tired. So if she's like lethargic or needing more naps, and I've been forcing naps just because it is going to be more work for her, like that's to be expected, but it's like when they actually have no energy. And I've seen Hannah like that, they're like a vegetable pretty much. Another indicator is headaches, but it's obviously really hard to tell with a 3-year-old if they have headaches, but she could bang her head like that when she was really dehydrated, when she gave herself that huge bruise. We're not sure why she did that, but one of the doctors suggested maybe she had a really bad headache, so that's why she was hitting her head. Like, I guess it makes sense, like for a 3-year-old who doesn't know like anything about headaches, who knows, who've had another headache before, just hitting their head because it hurts. So it kind of makes sense. So those are things that we would want to look out for. The reason we'd have to go to Victoria for this is because she would need a blood gas done, and that's just a finger poke when she's sleeping, and then that would tell us the CO2s, and that would tell us how her lung function is doing. But she has to be asleep for that, and since she can't be sleeping at this hospital, we have to go to Victoria for it. So pretty much for the next 2 months, they just want to see if she can maintain this, and if she's still doing great, or if she gets sick, what happens if she gets sick. But the thing is flu season's over, so like the scary thing isn't summer, it's flu season. When the respirologist was talking to me about this, he said, well, the only reason she has a trach is to be ventilated. So if she doesn't need the ventilator, she doesn't need the trach. So we can take it out soon. And I was like, you mean like spring? Like thinking like we would want to go like the whole flu season and then like take it out, because that means like her lungs would be really strong, and I just feel like it's like a safer bet. And he said, no, I would want to take it out in July, because then she'd have the summer to be healthy and then manage the flu season. So that still makes me really scared, because I don't know, her lungs are still so fragile. Like, we did do pretty good this year, even when she had RSV. Like, it was bad, but any kid with RSV is bad. So yeah, she handled it pretty good, I'd say. But I don't know, so that just makes me really nervous. So anyways, if she keeps doing good, we're going to go in July, and then they're going to do probably another blood gas. They're going to scope her airway from, like, going actually down her inner mouth and down, not just, like, in the trach. And they're going to look at her vocal cord function, which they were supposed to do, but they didn't. And then they're going to just make sure that there's no granuloma and that her airway tissue is all good. And then they're going to put a cap on the trach. So what that is like, it's kind of like the passenger valve, which I promise I'm going to explain really soon. I hope I'm going to get that video up this week. But pretty much, it would just be like, you know, like a cat bottle. You put it on and then you can't shake anything out. But then there's no air going out of there. So then instead, there's just pressure stops here and then it has to go up around your mouth. And then so you have to breathe in your mouth, breathe out. And so that's pretty much mimicking what it would be like without a trach. So then that's how they like kind of guess if it's going to be alright. Now, obviously, that isn't a for sure thing, so just because you pass that doesn't mean that you're going to pass the breathing without a trach. So that is going to be a really stressful appointment. I feel like she's going to do really good for the next 2 months. I think it's after the trach comes out that we're worried about. So anyways, that's what is going on. If she starts showing any signs of being tired or having breathing problems, then the ventilator will be put back on. They haven't taken the ventilator out of the house. We currently have one stored in my room and one at Grandma's just for emergency situations, and it's out of reach, so people couldn't just put it on her because they thought they needed it, because I feel like sometimes not all nurses assess her properly. But they're not. It's also not their child, and they're not with them all the time. So, so then that way, so then it just makes it so I have to actually see her, and she's getting assessed by what I think. And I'm not afraid to admit if she's failing. Yeah, that's pretty much it about it, and I hope that answers any of your guys' questions. And I will be posting a video this week also explaining how all of these changes affect me, because a few of you did ask how it affects me, and this actually affects me hugely. More than you'd think. Like, there's a lot of negative to this positive. Like, there's mostly positive, but there is like some negative effects that this would have on me and how we run as a family. So anyways, I hope you enjoy the rest of Tracheostomy Awareness Week, and don't forget to like this video. Also, if you would share our page or share these videos and to raise more awareness of tracheostomies, I would be very, very grateful. But anyways, have a good day. Bye.